Yo, welcome to the channel. In this video today, we're going over the Magicka Nightblade build for the Ascending Tide patch. So, let's go ahead and get into it. Maximum Magicka is 37.8k, maximum health is 19.6, and mag recovery is 1.5. Spell damage is 3.3, and spell critical is 69%, with spell pen at 5.3. So, we're setting good all around. I am a Khajiit, so keep that in mind. You can really be any race depending on what you're doing, but if you're trying to just pump out as much as you could when it comes to DPS wise, High Elf and Dark Elf is going to pull more. If you're looking for better sustain, Britain, it's the better sustaining class. So whichever one you want, or you can really be any race, it's up to you. So if I just pop a pot here real quick, you'll see that my spell damage goes to 3.9, and I still have a proc set that my magic recovery is 1.9. So we're setting really pretty. So I have 64 points into Magicka. The food I'm running is the Ghastly Eye Bowl, but it shows up as ice cream on your chart. Just gives us more max Magicka and magic recovery. And the boon I'm running is the Thief. Now, do not worry about a werewolf. It doesn't serve any purpose here. It's just here for me to bite and turn people, but you don't have to be a werewolf. You can be a vampire if you want to, but that's up to you. So, champion points. Green Tree. Passive wise, Gilded Fingers, Fortune Favor, just a little extra gold. Steadfast Enchantment reduces our charge, the usage of our charges on our weapon by 50%. Treasure Hunter, increased quality of items you find in treasure chests. This is a really good one. I always keep this on my bar no matter what. And then I also keep liquid efficiency on my bar whenever I use a potion or a poison. I have a 10% chance to not consume it. So if I'm using poisons or using spell power pots, that 10% chance saves me some gold. So ones that I keep on my bar while I'm waiting on dungeon queues and stuff like that, Master Gather and Plentiful Harvest, just gives me a 50% chance to get double resources and a 50% reduced time when it comes to harvesting those. Now if you don't really care about this and you're going for score runs, or you're going for no death runs in dungeons, or whatever, I would run Steve's Blessing, increases your out of combat movement speed, and Rationer increases adds an extra 30 minutes to your food or drink buff. So, but I got my points turned around here. I'm trying to get that Master Angular, so I'm kind of using those for the moment. Blue Tree wise, tons of passives. So the one I keep on my bar: Balanced Vitality, Fortified, Rejuvenation, and Siphoning Spells. So, on top of that, if you're not really necessarily worried about the extra armor, like you're not taking a whole lot of damage, one that you might want to look into is Strategic Reserve. It's going to give you gain 30 health recovery for every 10 ultimate you have. So if you're not a vampire, which reduces your health recovery to 0, this could actually come in handy a little bit. Or you can go with the extra armor. I've tried both of them out. Honestly, doesn't really feel like any difference to me. So it's just up to you. Passive wise, Defiance here, Tumbling. Hero's Vigor is a good one to have. Gives us a little more extra health. Wind Chaser, you go in here at Hasty, increase your movement speed by 4%. Sprinter, Tireless Guardian, Fortification, Savage Defense, Bashing Brutality. And then in here we have Nimble Protector. And then you can go either here to here. It takes 10 either way. Temperate Soul. If you get caught, you get dropped. When you get rezzed, this gives you 10% more of your resources back. So you're not having to heavy attack a couple times just to get everything started again. So it works out pretty nicely. Blue Tree. Eldritch Insight gives us some more max Magicka. Precision. Piercing. Flawless Ritual. And War Mage. So don't worry about this one. I was just playing around with some stuff. Now, ones that I keep on my bar at all times: Fighting Finesse gives us an extra 10% critical damage and critical healing. Biting Aura, increase your damage done with area effect attacks by 10%. Mastered Arms, increase your damage done with direct damage attacks by 10%. And Thermometer increases your damage done with over time effects by 2%, or by 10% at max. So, now, you can also go with Deadly Aim, increase your damage done with single target attacks by 10%. But honestly, if you can stay behind the enemy, and you know that, like you've got a tank that's holding the ball, so he's not running around. There's no DPS dancing. You're able to stay behind that boss. Put on Backstabber in dungeons. It's going to give you an extra 15% critical damage done, but if you can't stay behind the enemy, this is not going to serve you any purpose. So replace it for one of these 4 over here. These are the 3 that I normally keep on my bar. If I was to drop one, it would probably be the Thermometer for either Deadly Aim or Backstabber. I've also played around a little bit with Untamed Aggression. Honestly, these 4 outperform this. So, oh, I guess I should mention it over here in this little one. Increase your healing done by 2%. It's just a little extra healing we got because of our spammable. It does heal us, so it's a little useful. Okay, so sets. First set I'm running is Medusa. This comes from Arch Cranium, and to get this Inferno Staff used to be a real big pain. Now, not so much. Thanks to the system, the RNG setup, you know you have a select number of runs until you're going to get this. So, it may take a little while, but it's worth farming. This is a heavy armor set, so we're running it on the weapon and jewelry. We're running 1 infused and 2 bloodthirsty, both with spell damage enchants. Blue is okay. I got these from the golden vendor, so they're gold. So now, what Medusa does is it gives us critical chance, critical chance, critical chance, critical chance, and you gain minor force at all times, increasing critical damage by 10%. Now, like I said, this is a heavy armor set, so the jewelry will become unhealthy. But it's okay. Just transmute them. If you do not have the transmutation crystals for that, like let's say you're just getting started, but you still want the crit, you can go with Mother Sorrow. This is going to give you max Magicka and a ton of crit as well. So I think the crit, it kind of balances out between them, but you're not going to have minor force. But that's okay. You can always use Trap Beast or Psijic to replace that minor force. And I'll go over that a little later. But if you want something very similar to that, you would still have to transmute it, but it comes from Somerset. So if I can go to it. Griffin's Ferocity gives us critical chance, weapon and spell damage. And then after dealing direct damage, you gain minor force and minor expedition for 10 seconds, increasing your critical damage by 10% and increasing your movement speed by 15%. So those would be 2 open world sets that you could replace Medusa with. Like one will just give you more crit, and the other one will give you that minor force as well, along with a little extra crit. If you're able to do dungeons and replace it with, one that would be useful is Frostvault. You go in here, you get Warband. This is a medium armor set, so you can either run the weapon or 2 pieces body if you wanted to, with the jewelry. And you would have to transmute the jewelry as well because it is going to come in robust, but it's going to give you critical chance, offensive penetration, and when you deal critical damage, you gain a stack of precision, increasing your critical chance by 166. Keep in mind that should go up as you upgrade it in quality. This is, I believe, just blue, so yeah. But essentially, at 10 stacks, you're gaining minor force, increasing your critical damage by 10%. So essentially, when you bar swap off of it, you will still have minor force. We only have minor force on our front bar, but that's okay. So you can go with Warband, Medusa, Ferocity, Mother Sorrow. Those are all really good crit sets to use. If you don't want to use Medusa. But Fire Staff, front bar, Precision, Flame Damage, Enchant. So, back bar, we're running Maelstrom Inferno Staff infused with a Weapon Damage Enchant. Now, what this does is increase your light and heavy attacks, deal an additional 1.3k damage to enemies in your wall of elements. Now, this comes from normal Maelstrom Arena. You can get in there and run it. Normal is super easy. It may take you somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes to get in there and do it, but it is worth going in there and doing. This is based off of light attack weaving though. So if you have trouble with light attack weaving, or you can't really do it for whatever reason, you're just not light attack weaving, or maybe you just can't quite get it down yet, this isn't going to do you any good. So I would just run a second Inferno Medusa Staff on your back bar, so that way you have minor force at all times. Now, but infused, weapon damage, enchant, either way, even if you're running the Medusa Staff on the back bar. But if you have your light attack down, like you're getting that light attack weaving down, you're getting the hang of it, even if you're just light attack weaving every 2 abilities, like Let's say you throw down your wall and you throw down that, and then you get your light attack off. It's still worth it. You know, it would still be better. So, but like I said, if you're not light attack weaving or you haven't really got that down yet, this isn't going to do you any good. So, monster set, Infernal, Maul the Infernal. This comes from Banish Cells 2. It's very easy to go in there and get. Banish Cells 2 is not difficult at all. It's one of the starter dungeons. We're running a medium helmet and a medium shouldered divines with max Magicka. Now, what this does, it gives us max Magicka. When you deal damage with a light or heavy attack, you have a 33% chance to summon a fire-breathing Daedra for 15 seconds. Daedra stacks deal 2.4k flame damage every 2 seconds. Now, again, this is a light attack or heavy attack set, so you've got a light attack with it in order to get the most out of this. If you're having, like I said, same thing with the Maelstrom Staff. If you're not quite there with light attack weaving, you might want to look into something like Elambris, Nerenth. These were all really good sets. You know, Elambris, if the boss isn't, or if the target isn't stationary, you're not going to get the most out of this. So I would go with something like Nerenth. You could also go with something like Grofdar here. Grofdar is a really good one. When you deal damage to an enemy within 8 meters, you have a 10% chance to create lava pools that swirl around you, dealing 1k flame damage to all enemies within 8 meters of you every 1 second. Or you can just go 2 pieces crit. You know, you could go 1 piece slime crawl, and then go 1 piece ice heart here. That's what I was thinking. You know, just get a little extra crit. So there's many things that you can do for sets. DLC dungeon wise, Kilnor's Nightmare here is another good one, but again, this is based off of light attack weaving. It's just really what it boils down to. So, but if you're comfortable with light attack weaving and stuff like that, Maul the Infernal will do a lot more damage than the others. If you can get into City of Ash 2, there is also Valken Scoria, which is going to give you more penetration, and when you deal damage with a damage over time effect, you have an 8% chance to summon a meteor that deals flame damage to 5.5k flame damage to the target, and 1.8k flame damage to all other enemies within 5 meters. So this is a really good one too. So, now, like I said, monster sets, Maul the Infernal, I like it the most. But if you still have trouble light attack weaving, me personally, I would replace it with something like Grofdar or Nerenth. Grofdar comes from Vaults of Madness, really easy dungeon on Vet, and Nerenth is Crypto Hearts 2, another easy one. So, second 5-piece set we're running is Scathing Mage. This comes from Imperial City Prison. It's pretty, the dungeon is quite long, but it's not, especially on normal, it's not overly hard. It can be relatively difficult on Vet, especially that final boss. But for the most part, on normal, it's a breeze. Now, I'm running an Infused Chest, Divine's Waist, Divine's Gloves, Infused Legs, and Divine's Boots. Now, you can absolutely run all 5 pieces Divines if you wanted to. It wouldn't hurt nothing. Like 7 Divines would be absolutely okay. I just have 2 infused pieces, and those are not the worst. Now, if they were training or well fitted or something like that, I would definitely replace them. But I figured until I get Divines, I'm just going to keep them as Divines. So, now what this set does, it gives us max Magicka. It gives us critical chance, and when you deal direct damage, you have a 20% chance to increase your weapon and spell damage by 498 for 5 seconds. This effect can occur once every 5 seconds. So, it's a pretty nice little set. I've been running this. I love running this on my Nightblade. I've been doing it for a while now. But there are other sets you can replace this with if you wanted to. You can go with a crafted set like New Moon Acolyte, which is going to give you quite a bit of spell and weapon damage as well, plus a little bit of penetration. You can also, I don't know if I have any extra on me. I do not have any other sets on me. That's crazy. But I love Scathing Mage. It's definitely one of my favorites when it comes to this. Now, when it comes to other sets in general, honestly, I can't really think of one. I mean, you can go Burning Spellweave here if you wanted to with the flame damage. We do prop flame damage quite a bit, but it's not really going to be the best. You can also just flat out go Mother Sorrow. that would be absolutely okay as well. But for just pure damage in general, Scathing Mage is great on a Nightblade. I love running it on a Nightblade. Um, so yeah, this is just what I run. um, but yeah, this is a pretty easy setup to get. Arc Screenium is a very easy dungeon to run. It's on Vet, just get your purple jewelry, and then run Imperial City Prison on normal. Get your body pieces for Scathing Mage, and then of course your monster sets will come from Vet. And then you need to do Undaunted Quest to get your keys to get your shoulders. So yeah, skills: Swallow Soul, still an enemy's life force, dealing 8.5k magic damage, and healing you for 36% of the damage inflicted every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. Just a nice little heal, and this is our main spammable. If you want to go with something else, if you have your Psijic leveled up, you can go Elemental Weapon. It's going to deal magic damage and apply the Burning, Concuss, or Chill elemental status effect. If you are running Burning Spellweave over Scathing Mage, I would do this. I would go Elemental Weapon. But if you don't have this leveled up, of course you got to do the Psijic Order stuff, then I would not use Burning Spellweave with this. I mean, that's just me personally. Because you can do this, and it would apply the Burning status effect, so that would proc your Burning Spellweave more frequently than just if you were just relying on Wall of Elements. So, or your light attacks. So, also another spammable, you can go Force Shock. You can really take this to whichever one you want. If you want it to interrupt, you can go Crushing Shock here. This will interrupt and put the caster off balance. Or you can go Force Pulse. This will do kind of like a little AoE blast. It damages up to 2 nearby enemies, will take 9.1k magic damage if they are already afflicted with a status effect. So this is a nice little spammable as well. And then another one would be probably Concealed Weapon. Slash an enemy dealing 9.1k magic damage, attacking them with Concealed Weapon from the flank, stuns enemy. While slotted, your movement speed while sneaking or invisible is increased by 23%. So those could be your spammable. You have 4 different spammables: Force Shock, Concealed Weapon, Swallow Soul, and Elemental Weapon. Can't go wrong with either one of those. I use Swallow Soul for the little extra health. So, and then we have Degeneration here. Bind an enemy with a chaotic magic, dealing 16k magic damage over 12 seconds. The excess magic spills out from them, granting you major brutality and sorcery, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 20% for 24 seconds. This is here. We have major brutality from here, and then of course with Inner Light here, we get major prophecy. So this is going to give us the things that we would get from our spell power pots. So this allows us to use trash pots if we need to. If you want to use spell power pots, if you have the gold to use spell power pots, or you farm your equipment and you got it, you can use Degeneration. It's in the mage's skill line, but if you don't have it, you can always go Debilitating and use spell power pots. This also gives minor magic still, so it can help you sustain as well. But it does a little bit more damage, you know. So, actually, no, it doesn't. Okay, never mind. When I was looking at this earlier, this was like 2k more than Degeneration. I guess I don't know what happened. I don't know what changed, but for some reason, why Degeneration now is 2k above Debilitate. I don't know what happened there. Okay, but yeah. Degeneration is going to do more than Crippling Grasp now, apparently. My mistake. Must have misread. Should have double checked it. So, yeah. But that's magic. If you don't have this, go Debilitate. That'd be a nice little dot for you. Or, if you don't want to do either of that, you can go Soul Trap here. Soul Trap is another nice little dot. You get this from the start, and you can morph it to either be an AoE Soul Trap or a single target Soul Trap. It is entirely up to you on what you want to use. Let me go down here and look at it. There we go. Soul Magic. Soul Splitting Trap affects additional enemies near your initial target, but for less total damage, reduced cost as the ability ranks up. So as you can see, it goes to 9.1, but it will do damage to multiple enemies. Consuming Trap. If the affected enemy dies, you fill an empty soul gem and heal for 3k. You also restore 6.4k Magicka. So this can also help with resources, especially during trash pools and stuff like that. But it's up to you. Personally, I like Degeneration or Debilitate. That is just my two. You can also go with Now that I'm thinking about it, you can also go with something like Destructive Touch. It's going to apply a little magic dot. Go with like Destructive Clinch or Destructive Reach. Either one of these will work. It's just whichever one you want to use. Merciless Resolve. Focus your sense for 40 seconds, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 60 with every light or heavy attack up to 5 times. While active, hitting an enemy with 5 light or heavy attacks. Convert this ability into Assassin's Will, allowing you to fire a spectral arrow for half cost that deals 18.7k magic damage and heals for 50% of the damage dealt if you are within melee range. Pretty self-explanatory. When it comes to this ability, with rotation and stuff like that, I try to fire that Merciless Resolve off around the same time as I can hit with Soul Harvest. It just it deals a crazy amount of damage from that point. So, Impale, throw a magic blade with lethal precision to strike an enemy dealing 4.5k magic damage and deals 300% more damage to enemies below 25% health. Now, I know it says below 25% health, but I really don't use this until around their 20% to 18. It also depends on how much health that boss has. 18% to some bosses might be, still around 10 mil, depending on what you're doing, where other things might be like 1 mil. So just judgment call on when you should start this and when you shouldn't. Just keep that in mind, because you do. Inner Light. While slotted, you gain Major Savagery and Prophecy, increasing your weapon and spell critical rating by 26.29 and increase your max Magicka by 5%. So, Soul Harvest, ravaging enemy with a spinning attack dealing 14.6k magic damage and increasing your damage against them by 20% for 6 seconds. Also afflicts the enemy with Major Defile, reducing their healing received and health recovery by 16%. While slotted, anytime you kill an enemy, you gain 10 ultimate. So, this is why I like to try to have this when I fire off this. Is because that extra 20% is a lot. Those bows, especially on crits, will hit for 44, 45, 47, 48k. It just depends on what's procced. But I've yet to see a bow hit with a crit that was not at least 45k. So, back bar wise, blockade of fire. Slam your staff down to create a flame barrier in front of you, dealing 1.2k flame damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second. Burning enemies take 20% more damage from this ability. This is also why when we're using our Maelstrom staff, we got to have this down in order to make our light and heavy attacks get benefit from it. Twisting Path, create a corridor of shadows, granting you and your allies an area of major expedition, increasing movement speed by 30%, which persists for 4 seconds after leaving the path. It deals 2.3k magic damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second. So, siphoning attacks, imbue your weapon with soul stealing power, causing your light and heavy attacks to heal you for 1.5k health and restore 106 magicka for 20 seconds. Fully charged heavy attack stores twice the value. You restore up to 4.2k additional magicka when the effect ends based on the length of time siphoning attacks was active. So, this is just a nice little ability to make sure that we can help sustain. If you're not having any trouble sustaining, you can always replace this with something else. I do not have it. I do not have it learned here, but you can go with Psijic Order, not Psijic, my bad. Undaunted, down here to Narcotic Orbs. You of course morph this to Mystic Orbs. So that's what I would replace it with if you're having no trouble sustaining. But also try to keep only 3 abilities on my back bar, just due to the fact that I am minor forces only on my front bar, so I do try to keep this to like 3 or 4 abilities. Try 3, but siphoning attacks, sometimes I have to recast this every 2 rotations. So, Dark Shade, summon a shade version of yourself to attack an enemy and fight at your side for 17 seconds. Shade slashes at an enemy, dealing 3k magic damage, and occasionally whirlwinds all enemies around it, dealing 3k magic damage once every 2 seconds. Shade attacks inflicts minor maim, reducing the enemy's damage down by 5% for 4 seconds. Shade is awesome. Lasts for 17 seconds, so again, it will go down. You can either let this drop, or you can cast it every rotation. It's up to you. Because this lasts for 12 seconds, this lasts for 14, this lasts for 17. So you can either kind of have a dynamic rotation, or you can just try to keep it steady. Where you basically would cast this. You cast this, this is already, you'll get this on the second rotation. It's practice. Hardest Magicka, convert a portion of a Magicka into a protective ward, gaining a damage shield that absorbs 10.3k damage for 6 seconds. Damage shield strength capped at 50% of your max health. While active, whenever the shield absorbs damage, you restore 206 Magicka. Each piece of light armor 1 increases the magic restored by 33%. Effect can occur up to 3 times. Now, if you find yourself not needing a shield, I would just put inner light on your back bar as well. That's all I would do. So, back bar, we have Fiery Rage, create a catalytic storm at the target location that builds for 2 seconds, then lays waste to all enemies in the area, dealing 9.9k flame damage every 1 second for 7 seconds. This is usually, I use this for trash mobs, and then at the bosses, I'm usually using this. So, DPS wise, with this setup, 43.4k. It was a fun little setup, no problem at all. Only had one little hiccup in the rotation, but wasn't too bad. I kind of froze up there after a spectral bow, but not too bad. So, when it comes to the rotation, you're always going to buff up. So you would hit your Merciless Resolve, your Siphoning attacks, cast your Shade. And then it's Wall of Elements, Light Attack, Twisting Path, Rotate, Degeneration, and then here you go Incap if you have it, Scourge, and then just Swallow Soul. You should be able to fire off about 2 or 3, and then you would just turn around and repeat the rotation. Use your potions when you have it. You'll fire off a bow on the second one by itself without Incap. But yeah, that's pretty much a simple rotation. Use your potions when you have them, and just Incap. That's really it. It's not complicated. It's a pretty simple rotation. You know, if you need to, you can always do those. If you don't, I would always let Siphoning run out. I would never recast it early because you're going to get more out of it. But yeah, you can always recast the Dark Shade every time you come back if you wanted to. It's up to you. But it's not, the rotation isn't complicated. It isn't hard. So just remember that when you start to fight, you're going to Siphon, Merciless, and cast your Shade before you go in. That's your pre-buff. And he's taking off. So, that's the setup. It's pretty easy. Nothing's too complicated to get in the setup. It's pretty easy. The rotation is really simple, or about as simple as I can make it. And you pull pretty decent damage. So, keep in mind this is on a 3 mil dummy, not a 21 mil dummy. If you did this on a 21, you're going to get around 84, 85k. So, with practice. So until next time, let me know if y'all are liking Ascending Tide. Let me know what issues y'all are having. I know a few of my friends have been locked out of a couple characters. Just let me know how y'all are enjoying it. Until next time, take care.